Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And welcome to the Em&Cas Vodcast, episode 19.
I'm Emily Carpenter, aka the Carbonator, related to Sabrina Carpenter, John Carpenter, etc., etc. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about various video games that both the Brits and the Canadians love to play, especially since I'm British, but I've grown up in Canada, unfortunately, my entire life, and can't wait to leave. Good riddance, right? Good sodding riddance.
I love you went straight into the topic without introducing me.
That's alright, dear. You introduce yourself. You can introduce yourself. Go right ahead, dear. Please go on, my bloke friend. My bloke friend.
Bloke, what I don't know what you're on about. And I'm the renegade enigma Caswell Shaw, and as my co-host has already alluded to, we will be talking about video games and going on the bigger influence that you and I have had. Clearly, we've had different influences on what video games Emily and I have played, and you will know that firsthand throughout this episode.
Okay, so today, if you want to go ahead with yours first, or I can talk about mine, or we can switch, whichever one.
We usually switch going back and forth anyway, so okay. It seems like it'd be the easier as opposed to just have one person go on about all the video games that they played, and then the other person to go on about all the video games they played. So. Okay.
So The Sims, my video game that I played when I was 11, my favorite video game of all times was The Sims, aka Simlish. La Comme Stewart. Do you remember Simlish? You never played The Sims growing up?
I've never played The Sims.
Okay. Well, I was a huge fan of The Sims, so they had this language that they'd say, which was a mix of gibberish and maybe other languages that you and I don't know about that we've never heard of. Mm. Definitely not French or Spanish, because those two languages I'm a little bit familiar with since I studied them in school.
Well, you said that those languages are unfamiliar, so you've already eliminated the two that you are familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. So, La Comme Stewart, was when a Sim was angry at the other Sim. I used to have, as a little joke when I was a kid and I was bored, I used to have the little girl in The Sims. I had the little girl as myself, because at 11, you're still technically a child. You're not even a teenager yet. So I had the little girl call the police as a joke.
Oof.
Just as a joke, because I imagine what it would be like doing this in real life as myself. And then the police officer would come. She would stand over. It was a woman police officer every time. They didn't believe in... They had male police officers. No, just woman police officers. In the original Sims. The Sims from 2001. The Sims Deluxe Edition. I got a little Sims CD from the Scholastic Book Order. I used to get the Scholastic Book Order.
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah, as a kid. And
I had to beg my parents at that time.
Yeah. And I got the Sims Deluxe Edition. And so anyway, it was so hilarious because I would call the police just for any random reason. And then a burglar would often come in, and the Sim would be so tired and lazy. The Sim would be too tired to get out of bed. By the time they got their ass out of bed, the robber would be gone, stole all the stuff out of the house, and the cops would show up right afterwards and get pissed off at you for calling the police.
Well, that's what you get for calling the police too often.
No, but I did this even when I didn't call the police. Even when I didn't call, the police as a joke. I actually started a brand new game. Uh-huh. And the burglar would come in within the first 15 minutes of me playing the game with the brand new episode. Okay. And then the burglar would come in because I forgot to install a burglar alarm.
You didn't have anything to defend yourself, like a weapon?
No, it was very basic. It was a Sims Deluxe Edition. They didn't have any of that. You couldn't defend yourself. Once the burglar,
that's dumb.
It is really dumb. It's like you're playing God and you control the Sims.
Well, if you're playing God, then surely God would defend himself against a burglar attack.
Well, God gives us free will, and the Sims, on the other hand, you don't really have much free will because you are God.
You're not a God if you don't have all free will.
I know, it's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's an exaggeration. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so, we had, and then the police officer, the little girl would be head up in the clouds, her little head way up over here, there's this song by Sky Sweetnam. I don't know if you know that singer. Nope. She's a Canadian singer. She's not very popular anymore. She was popular back in the day. One of my friends introduced me to her. And she got this song called Sharada, and it goes, she's got her head in the clouds, Sharada, Sharada. You'd have to Google it.
I think those...
Does it sound familiar?
Those specific lyrics sound familiar.
Yes, Sky Sweetnam. Hi, Sky Sweetnam. If you're watching this, I was a huge fan of you back in the day. I do still support you wherever you may be in your career to this day. Anyway, getting to the point. The little girl would go... She would sing like she was a cow. She would sound like she was a cow while she was singing. She would just have her little head up in the clouds while the police officer was screaming at her for calling the cops.
Wait, so she sounded like... Do you mean she made, like, constant moo sounds after, like, the first verse, or...?
Yeah, like, she would be standing right after calling the police, she'd be just standing, waiting for me to tell her what to do, right? And she'd be going, ma, moo, moo, ba, bee, boo, blah, blah. She had this little song thing, remember? Like, it was like a cow, because she goes moo, moo. She goes, ma, moo, moo.
Oh, okay. So I don't know her vocal abilities. I'm only going off from what you're doing as a demonstration.
She's a little girl. She's like singing in her head, like she's got her head up in the clouds, right? She's in La La Land. She's in Sim Land.
Okay, so I'm picturing it more high pitched.
Okay, yeah, little moo moo fluffy. Yeah, like that. I'm sorry, this sounds really weird, ladies and gentlemen. I know she's a little girl, right? And she's just like standing there. And then the police officer comes, the woman police officer. She goes, and then if she walks up and say, like, how dare you call the police, right? We're not going to fine you. In real life, you'd be fined.
Yeah, obviously. It's against the law to file a false report.
I know. But in Simland, on the other hand, not so much. Simland, you go, it's like, Lacombe Stewa. And the police
I love that you know that by heart.
I know this, man, from when I was 11, and I haven't played the game. Oh my gosh, I sound so old. Since I was 11. I will not say the year. I will not be saying the year, man, but that was classic. And my mom would come downstairs and watch me play, and I would dress up my mom as this in a suit. A turquoise suit. My mom used to wear a turquoise suit when she first started her job when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So there was literally this costume in The Sims that had a turquoise suit. Like I've had my mom as an adult with her long brown hair. My mom had that when I was a kid, and I would have my costume on with the turquoise business suit. My mom's costume on The Sims was a turquoise skirt and a turquoise suit because that's what she used to wear in real life. When I was a kid going to work, it was so fun. I could actually match it up coincidentally to real life. And then I would have a cat. I even got the edition. My grandma got me The Sims. What was it called? The Sims Pets. Whatever it was called. Unleashed.
Oh,
The Sims Unleashed, also made in 2001 or 2002, I think. Mm-hmm. And that was great. We had a cat. The cat was so adorable. We had a little tabby cat in the house. And I would have like a pink bathroom with a pink bathtub and pink wallpaper. I was very into pink bathroom.
You were very pink oriented. Very
pink oriented. That was my favorite color as a kid, and I still like pink to this day, but I don't nearly as much of it as I used to.
Sounds like the color pink is still like very close to you.
It is.
It's like how the color blue is very close to me.
Exactly. I've also played RuneScape, Neopets with the little walkie that was like a cat to me with the pink fur around its neck, and it was yellow, and it would feed me, and I would feed it, and it was starving, and I would go and log into Neopets as a kid, and we had AOL for our internet service provider.
Oh my god, AOL.
It was horrible. We had freaking America Online, okay? And then we couldn't even, it was dial-up. We had freaking dial-up where we couldn't make a phone call while we were on the internet.
Oh my god, that is a major
inconvenience. Major inconvenience. Major throwback. So that's what we had. Anyway, I will let you talk. RuneScape, Neopets, The Sims, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Mario Kart, Disney's Tarzan, and Disney's Pocahontas were the main video games that I can recall playing as a child. It is your turn to speak now. We will bounce back and forth about your games that I may know nothing about.
It's funny you mentioned RuneScape and Mario Kart because I actually played those. I played more of the latter than the former.
Okay.
I played RuneScape very briefly when I was in grade 7. It was just around the time when we were just in the school library, and I honestly don't remember much of it because it was very the time I spent was very minimalistic, and I don't really have fond memories of it. But I remember RuneScape at the time was maybe 2007, 2008 was fairly popular. It was really big.
I played it in 2004.
Oh, really? It lasted that long?
Yeah, I played it back in 2004. I probably deleted it when I deleted my old email from 2004, which I don't believe I no longer have to this day, unfortunately. But I played it in 2004. I won't say what grade I was in when I played that. Anyway, continue on.
So yeah. For me, I remember playing that, and more than likely, maybe my account is still active. I just don't remember the password, and more to the point, I couldn't care less for signing into it because I never really remember RuneScape's existence in 2019 until actually as we're recording this podcast. And I was watching a live stream of Killing Floor 2, which is another game that I played. I'll get more into that later on in this episode, about this one guy who used to play RuneScape, and he also elaborated on the fact that it was super popular back then, and compared to now, it's still around, just the caveat is that it's not as popular.
Okay, well, yeah, it was a game back in the early 2000s, as far as I knew, to the mid 2000s, and I remember enjoying it. I did remember playing it a bit as a kid. Actually, my first fascination with video games started when I played Barbie. I was a Barbie fanatic as a little girl, and I used to play this Barbie Heart. There's this Barbie Heart video game that we got back when Radio Shack was around.
Oh my god, Radio Shack. Oh, the hits keep coming.
Yeah. Before the Source came, and I was this heart-shaped Barbie. I can find a picture of it on Google. Pull it up while I'm talking. Heart-shaped Barbie mini video game, digital, with like mini little cell batteries or maybe AAA batteries, and it was like a purse video game. It came with a strap as if I was actually wearing a purse, and it had a little compartment at the top, plastic, where you could put your little bits and bobs inside of it, and then the second compartment would open up and there'd be an actual game where Barbie had to get points for how many items she could shop for at the mall. At the Barbie shopping mall.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I used to go to the library in Coburg, Ontario, where John Elton apparently got a condominium building many, many years ago.
Interesting.
Coburg. Right next door to Port Hope, where It was filmed.
And It too is also being filmed. I'm not sure if it's still filming as we're recording.
Port Hope. Okay. Yeah, anyway, going on. Same topic. Barbie was great. That was my favorite game. That was when it started. I also played Barbie.com video games and Totally Spies.
Oh yeah, you used to play online games too?
TotallySpies.com. Yep, played the game with the robots where Chloe, Alex, and Sam. I could choose whichever character. I loved Teletoon growing up. Had to beat the robots. Oh yeah, I love that growing up. I started off with Totally Spies, Barbie video games, Sims, Neopets, Roller Coaster Tycoon. So this goes on and on. Your turn to speak.
Okay, so I've mentioned RuneScape. Now we'll mention the other game that you mentioned, Mario Kart. I'm a huge Mario Kart fanatic. My main character to use is always going to be the Koopa Troopa.
Never heard of that one. Not sure.
It's an enemy. It's like a yellow turtle-like creature.
Okay, interesting.
He's a frequent Mario Kart enemy that Mario Kart. Wow, thanks, man. A frequent Super Mario enemy.
Yeah.
But he is a playable character in Mario Kart. I'm more in tune with Mario Kart 7 and 8. 7 being on the 3DS and Mario Kart 8 being on the Wii U, and then the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being on the Switch. I don't own a Switch. I just play the Switch that my friend would bring to whenever I would hang out with him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would use Koopa Troopa for both games. Mario Kart for me, I feel like is a game anyone can excel. Mm-hmm. There really isn't much to it. It's a bloody racing game. So all you need to know how to do is how to accelerate, how to drift, and how to defend yourself.
Interesting.
More in particular, to defend yourself against shells. Yeah, bananas are one thing. You just plop them anywhere, and anyone with any iota of vigilance will see it and then just steer away from it and then just be right back onto the course. I feel like it's so easy to miss the item boxes too, because if you miss one, and if you're racing against your friends or the AI, and they get something that will royally screw you, like a red shell. A red shell is basically like a heat-seeking missile that will get you. I'm sure you know this, right?
Yeah, I remember that, the red shell and the banana where you slip or you're driving. Yes. I love that game. I never owned it as a kid. I only played it at babysitters' houses or friends' houses, but go on.
Well, in the future, if you ever have the money to get a Nintendo Switch, I highly recommend getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It is like
nice.
Quality perfection.
Cool.
And so red shell's heat-seeking missile. Green shell just spams all over the place until it hits something, and then after a while, if it doesn't hit anything, it automatically breaks itself. There's a bomb where it explodes onto the nearest racer. That's definitely not your own that throws it. However, if you are in the radius, you're still succumb to it. And then the infamous blue shell.
Okay, blue shell.
That automatically targets whoever's in first, and then eviscerates them, and then just gives everyone else a chance to catch up.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, that game is a lot of fun. That game is also very rage-inducing from a lot of Let's Plays I find on YouTube with Mario Kart. A lot of YouTubers that I'm subscribed to, my other channel, that play it, are just like the rage. Oh my gosh, it's okay. So for like a first timer who's never seen people rage in video games, I'm just gonna point this out there that they're not like pissed off, like actually pissed off at their friends or whoever they're playing with. I'd like to think if they were genuinely upset, they would not upload the video. They're still all good friends. It's all for show. I just feel like I have to explain that because there's going to be like that 1% that's going to think that they're actually upset. But rage-inducing games, you know for a fact you shouldn't be taking it out on the people you're playing against. It's just the circumstances that befall you. Like if you're in first place 90% of the race and then you just somehow get hit with every single item in the game, not particularly every single item, but if you get hit enough times for you to lose your spot and then to fall down the cart at a precipitous rate, then that's what my friend and I would coin the term getting Mario Karted. So the whole aspect is you getting bombarded with so many items that screw you over from taking that first place, and then you just fall into like 6th or 7th place, and then you have like 3 to 5 other people passing you. Interesting. So yeah, that's like the whole heart racing thing about Mario Kart, is that you could be winning and then it could just be taken away at a moment's notice. Yeah, for sure. I know. I hated that with the green ones, the green shells, and the red shells. And then the banana split in the flipping. I played Princess Peach. I loved Princess Peach. Princess Peach and I, if I could totally dress up with her as a Halloween costume, one of these years, I should totally do. I'll get myself the blonde wig, and I'll get myself a little pink dress or whatever. Wasn't it a pink dress that she wore? I think it was a pink dress, yeah. Yeah, a pink dress. She goes, woo! She makes little sounds. Whatever it is. You know, she's really great. They must have really phenomenally talented voice actors in Mario Kart. I don't know their names. Do you? No. But they must. I couldn't tell you, especially the fact that we're on here. It's gonna take me a while for me to remember off the top of my head. I would have to look them up, but I would like to think it would be easier to cosplay as an actual character. But in my case, I said my main was the Koopa Troopa. I don't think it would look all that great for me to dress like a turtle. Yeah, it would be weird. There's always Donkey Kong. Oof. Donkey Kong, whatever, as a gorilla. What are the noises that gorillas make again? I've forgotten. Ooh, whatever they do. Like they pound their chest or whatever. As a woman, you can't really do that. Wink, wink, Men can, but a woman, on the other hand, don't think I would be looking too good for me to be dressing up as a gorilla ape. An ape, for crying out loud. I look a little crazy, having a banana in my mouth and pounding my chest. I don't think it would be very good now, would it, Caswell? Probably not. Whatever noise gorilla makes, I can't remember the noise, man. Whatever they were. Tarzan, for example. Tarzan and the gorillas in Disney. Whatever noises they made. Tarzan made weird gorilla noises. Tarzan and Jane. I could play Jane. I should dress up as Jane as a Halloween costume with the yellow dress and the brunette wig. I'm not dressing up as Tarzan. He's wearing literally next to nothing. That's true. He was half a gorilla, half ape, after all. Or half gorilla, half human. No, he was fully human pretending to be an ape. Let's get the facts straight around here. Sorry. Sounds about right. Yeah. Fully on human, 100%. He was trying to fit in with his gorilla ape family that adopted him. Because his own parents abandoned him as a baby. I love that movie, man. That was one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid. Sure, I do share a birthday with Walt Disney after all, so I am a huge Disney fan. I'm going to write to Walt Disney Corporation one of these days. I know I'm not rich and famous yet, but if I ever did become rich and famous, I would write to them and ask that every single person with the birthday of December the 5th should be allowed to go to Walt Disney World for free on their birthday. Or Walt Disneyland. That's actually not a bad idea. Or they should get a discount, a major discount any time of the year. It's either one or the other. I don't know how they can afford that because every person in the world born on December 5th, that's a hell of a lot of people, I'm sure. That would be one hell of a gamble. At the same time, for free admission for anyone born on December 5th, that's... Oh, just on their
birthday. Only on their birthday, one day a year.
Yeah, December 5th.
Yeah, but that would be a lot of people. I can imagine everyone that showed up. Man, that is my idea, man.
That's what I said. It would be a gamble, but it's a hell of an idea nonetheless.
Yeah, or they could be a cheaper admission, a very, very cheap admission, or there could be a huge discount. Somewhat of a discount, 30-40% off all year round, especially if you're Canadian and the currency sucks like hell. So you can't bloody well afford to go down there, because even as a kid, we couldn't afford to go down there because my parents divorced. My mom wanted to take me down there when I was 7 or 8. I called a number as a kid. I called Walt Disney World number as a kid. Never got to go.
Damn.
I can't remember what happened. My brain. Yeah. I called the number, the 1-888 number on the screen. I used to see the commercials on TV as a kid all the time, and I begged my mom if we could go, but my dad was giving her child support. My mom was being a single mother, trying her best, and me being the only child, I don't have siblings, of course. There were no other kids my age to go with, just my mom. So I never got to go, and I still haven't been there to this day. And I really want to go there. I know you've never been either.
Nope.
Both of us have never been here, so it's not just me talking, it's both of us. We didn't get to do that as a kid.
Well, they say Walt Disney is the happiest place on Earth, and, well, eventually we'll find out why it's the happiest place on Earth. I just hope that the time comes when, for someone like me to go to Disney World or Disneyland or whatever it is it's called. I know for a fact that I think you get an accommodated hat in the shape of Mickey Mouse's ears with your name on it.
Really? I didn't know that. Really?
I'm not sure if it's just like in the commercials or some of the TV shows that feature it that only have that, but for your case, they would more than likely have an Emily, one with Emily Mickey Mouse ears.
Minnie Mouse, or Minnie Mouse.
Or Minnie Mouse, whatever tickles your fancy, because Emily's a more common name than mine, and
true.
It's like, for me, I would probably have to get mine specially made in order to get one. So, hey, well, if I were to find one in my name, that would be pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, and I remember watching the Mickey Mouse Club cartoons. I think it was called the Mickey Mouse Club as a kid. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. I watched it on the Family Channel, or in the States, of course, they call it the ABC Channel. ABC, the Disney Channel, whatever they called it in the States. Family Channel up here. And there was this episode with the Mickey Mouse, whatever it was called, Mickey Mouse Club.
I think it was Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
I think so. I think that was it. Yeah, I watched on the Family Channel as a kid, and there was this episode where this bad guy, I can't remember the name of the character for the life of me, but Mickey called the police, right? And he made this joke. It was brilliant. Walt Disney's idea was brilliant. He called up the phone, he picked up the phone. I had a phone on me.
No, that one's recording.
Yes, I know. I don't have a damn phone. Okay, this is my imaginary phone right now. Okay. He picked up the phone, and he's like, "Hey, can I please speak to my friend Paul East? Can I speak to Paul East, please?" You know Paul East. You know who Paul East is. You know what he's saying about Paul East, right? You get it? This is gonna take you a while to figure out.
Yeah, it's gonna take.
Police. Police. Police, hello, 911, what's your emergency? Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly. So he's like, "Can I please speak to my friend Police?" And they're like, and then the bad guy, I can't remember his name, Boris? No, not Boris. He was this big burglar cartoon figure. I just can't remember the character's name. If I could look this up on Google right now, I'll try and find the clip to add while we're speaking. Send it to Erajit, our editor.
Oh, why make him do more work than he already is?
It'd be nice. Okay, I don't remember this episode name. I just have this memory of watching this on TV as a kid, and I saw the clip, "Police, please," and then the police show up, I think, and then the brother's like, "Who are you calling?" He's like, "I'm calling my friend Paul East. Paul Ease." And they're like, "Okay," and then the police show up and they get the bad guy that broke into Mickey's apartment or whatever, or stole from him, and then they end up arresting the bad guy. I think that's all I remember that happened. I had a cat named Minnie as a kid that died when I was 16. My mom named her Minnie because of Mickey and Minnie. Instead of a Minnie the mouse, it was Minnie the cat.
Oh, that's cute.
I know, she was this black female domestic short-haired cat. She's my baby, and I missed her so much. We had to put her down. The vet told us to put her down because she was swallowing hairballs and she kept throwing up all the time. And
now it's sad.
But her sister died of feline leukemia when I was 5.
That's even 2006, and then 2007, which was the third installment, which was the first game that I owned for the PS2. However, when I first saw the commercial, I think this was mid to late 2006. I started watching wrestling October of 2005 when I just moved into a new apartment. I'm not going to say where it is for the sake of privacy. And the end of the commercial showed that it was not for the PlayStation 2, at least to my knowledge at the time. It was shown for Xbox 360, and I was asking my dad for the game. He's like, yeah, sure. And then I told him, oh, it's not for PS2, it's for Xbox. And he's like, hell no. And I'm like, why? My dad was just against the Xbox. He was pro PlayStation, which is why I now own the PlayStation from 2 to 4. I guess from my dad's point of view, he felt that the PlayStation had better games and better graphics than the Xbox did. I can't confirm or deny it. I don't want to start a war between PlayStation and Xbox. That's, by the way, that's another war from like a social media thing.
I've never had one in my entire life, so you know what? I wouldn't know.
That never ends.
I've never had a game console in my entire life. I've really only played any video games, or not video game, what I call them, computer games on the computer itself, on my PC, on Windows XP. We had a Hewlett-Packard stack with Windows XP from when I was 7 or 8 up until age 12 or 13. That computer lasted us a long time.
Wow.
We had a lot of repairs on it, but...
That's incredible.
Yeah, it lasted, oh lord, yeah. I won't say the year, my age, but yes. Ages 8, I think, to, age 13 or 14. And then, of course, we had to give it away, and that was it. But yeah, that's what we got. So continue on.
So yeah, my start into video games were from wrestling games, and it sounds silly when you put it into perspective, but for me, I could care less anyway. You start somewhere, and for me, I started with wrestling games, and for a long period of time, I didn't really expand on different games until I was into the PlayStation 4 phase, and the PlayStation 3 was slowly becoming obsolete, and that's when I started playing Dragon Ball games, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh games, I started playing things like Minecraft. I'm sure everyone and their moms know Minecraft at this point. So thanks to the friends I've made in high school, they've opened me up to in games outside of the wrestling genre. And so one or two of the games I'll say that I play very frequently are Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and Killing Floor 2, and the latter of which really helped me through a very dark time, and even more so this past winter when there was next to nothing for someone like me to do in terms of acting. In terms of acting, and the fact that we also put our podcast recording on hold because you had a job at the time. Yes. And
terrible job that was, by the way. Another episode for another day about discrimination. Let's continue.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with Killing Floor 2, it was a game that, again, my high school friends introduced me to in June of 2017. I didn't really think much of it at first. It's an online zombie first person shooter. I'll say that much. It wasn't as addicting when I was first introduced to it. I would play it when my friends were interested in wanting to just crack heads on this thing called Zeds. They're not zombies, they're Zeds. There's a fan base of Killing Floor 2 that will get triggered if you say zombies. Yeah. So I'm just gonna throw that out there just to make sure that I'm not BSing to you guys. Yeah. So Killing Floor has come a long way. It's now becoming a huge part of my life, made by this very independent company called Tripwire Interactive. I think they're based in Georgia.
I've never heard of them. Killing Floor 1, you have to show me those games. Killing Floor 1 and 2. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, next time if you want to come over to my place, I'll show you Killing Floor 2. Cool. And it's for me it's a lot of fun. It's very good stress reliever, and there really isn't much to it. It's your standard AI killing game. There's no story to it. There are perks, which essentially means different classes and different kinds of skills you want to use to try and level up. The max level is 25, and there are several classes like the Berserker, that's more what you call it. Damn it! I'm blanking on the term.
It's okay. Can't remember. We'll just have to. We'll just remember it another time, another day. If you can't remember.
Okay, so they don't use guns. They use melee weapons. Okay, I remember.
Okay,
melee weapons.
Okay.
Energy, try and cut out the part where I fucking stuttered.
Okay.
So yeah, Berserker use melee weapons. Commando uses assault rifles. Support uses shotguns. Field medics are just that. They are the perk that keeps your team alive. So they're not really your frontline killers. Demolitionists, as the name implies, handle explosives. The SWAT uses submachine guns. Firebug, as the name implies, they use fire to kill things. Firebug, for me, was like the sort of the weakest perk, because they would always take a while for them to die, whereas if you use guns, it's just like bam bam and they're dead. Depends on how well your accuracy is, but it took me a long time to get my accuracy down, because I didn't really play the game heavily until February of last year.
Oh wow. Okay, interesting.
So there's that. There are 4 difficulties. There's normal, hard, suicidal, and hell on earth.
Oh my goodness, they're so graphic with their terms. Suicidal. I mean, that's not too good for people who actually are suicidal now, is it? Goodness.
No relation to actually committing suicide. Please don't commit suicide.
No, that's
just
not
know that
funny.
There's hope for you guys out there.
Yes, well, it's another topic for another day. I do want to make an episode, if it's okay with you, down the road about Toronto's suicide rate and the Canadian mental health, youth, teenage suicide rate, and why it has increased over the past 10 years. If that's okay with you, unless it's too dark for you, just because I had personal experience with a friend of mine who hung herself 11 years ago. Uh-oh. Bloody hell. What does it say? I can't see.
It says change the battery pack.
Okay, I have to put the charger in. I am so sorry, Caswell. Do you want to keep talking?
Actually, we'll just take a short intermission and then we'll try and get back on track.
Oh! Now you fucked up!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, intermissions out of the way, and Emily and I have got our camera up and running, so onward to what we were talking about. We were in the middle of talking about Killing Floor 2. I was listening to perks, and as we were playing back, I had missed out 2 very crucial perks that are deemed the strongest in the game: the Gunslinger and the Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter being the snipers, and the Gunslinger just take a lot of pistols and multiple dual-wield pistols and just aim for the head. Those are the perks' main frontliners, and their main priority is to get headshots. So the game has evolved since its inception in 2016. There's a prestige system that, from what we know from the time of this recording, has gone up to 4. There's another update going to be the Summer Sideshow for June 2018. That's more than likely going to have the 5th and final prestige. So the prestige system, the way how it works is, if you get up to level 25, which I mentioned earlier is the max level, and then you go and prestige it, you get a cosmetic skin, and the caveat is it resets your level all the way back to 0, and then you have to level up again. However, the solace you can retain is that you get a prestige bonus, whereas prestige 1 gives you 30%, prestige 2 gives you 35%, 3 gives you 40%, 4 gives you 45%, and 5, assuming we get prestige 5, will be 50%.
Interesting.
So that's the short version. I'd say with my friends, they're falling in and out of it. They don't play as frequent as I do now. At the time when they did, we would do it for achievement guides, and not achievement guides, but trophy hunting. Sorry, PlayStation 4 has trophies, Xbox has achievements, and then we just do it to get trophies to try and eventually obtain 100%, which in PS4 terms is called platinum in the game. So I think once my friends have done that, they've stopped playing frequently. For me, I would play frequently. I would get happy when they would play it too. So yeah. Other games I've played 7 Days to Die, which that game in itself is kind of a mess, and depending on what we have for time, I'll give you the abridged version once more. That game is, should I put this, not properly made. Especially for me, because I'm a Mac user, and again, shout out to my friend Anthony that also has tried for so long to get me into the game and didn't take until maybe nearly a year ago, or maybe 6 months ago, to actually get the game for the PS4 and on Steam. So on Mac, it's leaps and bounds worse than the console version, where, sad to say, even though the Steam version gets updates, the fact that I don't play on a PC is that the game crashes every 20 minutes. So he and I can get like a full solid Let's Play on it. Whereas on the PS4, it's him, myself, Kevin, and Chloe that have a 4-person account, and we've gone up to day 112. And by the way, the reason why the game is called 7 Days to Die is that every 7 days there's always a horde of zombies that comes out at 10 o'clock. There's a blood moon and everything that signals that it could potentially be the end, but because we're a team of 4, the game is piss easy in itself. And as the weeks go on and more 7 days go on, it gets harder and harder. So we're on day 112, and the other unfortunate part for me is that going off a bit, how Sony, after so many years of being active, finally let users change their gamer tags. And for me, I would rather not say what my gamer tag is on there because it's too embarrassing.
Dear.
I'll just say I was a stupid 12-year-old kid.
Okay, don't worry. Don't feel bad. My email to this day, Caswell, is princessemily_18@hotmail.com. I will flat out tell the audience that right now. I made that account when I was, oh Lord, I think I was about 11 or 12 when I made that account, Princess Emily. And I used that once to apply for an apartment a few years ago, and they're like, we saw an email with Princess Emily. We were wondering if it was a little kid applying for our apartment. You might want to change that email. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I applied for that apartment at midnight and I was a little bit tired. I wasn't thinking of using my actual email with my date of birth for numbers that I will not give away. Emily_Carpenter_4 numbers of mystery at hotmail.com.
Yeah.
I should have used that email because I gave away my date of birth or whatever. But anyway, they're
Glad
like,
you're giving the audience something to think about.
it's fine. So don't use Princess Emily on your job resume, and don't use nicknames or pseudonames that you came up with as a little child, especially when applying to college, work. Even in high school, you should stop using those when you're applying to university, college. For those of you who are younger that are watching this, because I'm sure we're going to have a younger audience watching our vodcast, which is why we're trying to keep it as clean and respectable as much as possible. Continue on before we go on to our ending.
Okay, so yeah, I'll also be sure to, if you ever come across a site or a game station where you only have one chance to create a username, do yourself a favor and actually spend time. Don't do what I did and go sign up for PlayStation Network the moment you get your PS3, because that's what I did. I did not spend time on my gamer tag. I did not know that it was only a one-time thing at the time, and yeah, I pretty much had that burden for the next 12 years up until last month, where we finally got to change it, and I actually have a better name where I spent time knowing that's what I wanted. I managed to change it. Actually, it was around the last time I came to your place to record this podcast. Yep. So yeah, I was actively trying to go on the PlayStation Network while you were setting up the camera on my phone to make sure the name I wanted is still available. Thank God it was. And so I couldn't change it because I needed my credit card information, and I don't know my credit card by heart. So I had to wait until I got home.
Who does?
Right? If you do, you got a serious problem. problem. And so...
A serious shopping, spending problem. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I know my SIN number at the top of my head.
That's important.
I know a few things off the top of my head, but certainly not my credit card number or even my banking number. My banking number, not even, which is probably good considering you don't really want to spend the moolah. The moolah!
Oh, jeez.
Moolah! Sorry, cows again. Let's continue. Okay. Before we go on to the ending, wrap it up real quick.
Okay, so... finally got a chance to change my my gamer tag. Really happy with it. The side effect, going back to 7 days now, is that all my shit was gone. All my progress that I had for like the last 100 days was wiped out. Only basically treated me as though I was a new player. Lost my AK-47. I lost my SMG. I lost my med kits. Pretty much had to start from scratch, and I don't think we've played 7 days since then. We were trying to play afterwards, but then a whole bunch of shenanigans happened that I won't say on air. So the four of us just decided to go play endless mode on Killing Floor. That obviously you can tell you put a smile on my face. So with that said, those are some of the games that I've played, and looking back on this episode, I've a pretty diverse background where I started from wrestling and now my fanatic games are virtual card games, fighting games, and first-person shooters.
Okay, cool. Well, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up now because we've been running this on for quite a while. I'm Emily Carpenter, the Carpinator, aka the Neopet Sims RuneScape junkie. Used to be one many years ago. I still love Neopet. It's still around. I still have to get back to playing with my walkie, who's probably starting by now and almost on the verge of death because I haven't had the time to play Neopets now that I used to as a kid.
Sounds like a Tamagotchi.
Oh, the Tamagotchis! I saw those at Urban Outfitters downtown across the street from the Eaton Center. I'm gonna buy one of those again and show it on video for one of our next episodes. The Tamagotchi says hi, and so does the walkie from Neopets, the beautiful walkie, which was my big, nice, fat cat.
That's a data reference, boys and girls. If you're a 90s kid, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, so yes, you can check out my social media, Emily C. Official. My channel is M's Diary, EMZ Diary, EMZ if you're American. This is the Em&Cas Vodcast. We are almost at, I don't know how many subscribers, but we're trying to get there as soon as possible.
We're getting up there.
Share this on Facebook.
That's all you need to know.
Share this with your friends. Share this on your Facebook timeline. And if you want to share your non-existent social media, just joking.
Well, it's non-existent, so why would I share?
You know what I mean.
I'm kidding. My Instagram is at Caswell Shaw. Go see all my pictures and all the progress that I've made as an actor since then. Okay.
And this is Sabrina Carpenter's possibly distant cousin. Hi, Sabrina, if you are watching
Good
this.
save.
The Carpenator's way says goodbye and wish you the best. And don't quit in your life because you will never be a Terminator or a Carpenator if you quit.
Exactly. Wise words from the Carpenator.
Toodaloo! Bye!